1576, Bessie Dunlop of Ayrshire, Scotland, was tried for witchcraft in Edinburgh, then executed. Bessie had been helping people for years with potions and cures for sickness. Bessie also claimed to see the future and talk to the dead. She stated that the spirit of Thomas Reid, an elderly gentleman, would help her. He had died in 1547. When she first encountered Thomas, her husband, child and cow were ill. He told her her child and the cow would die, but her husband would live. This came true. On another meeting with Thomas, he swore her to secrecy. On agreeing, he introduced her to 8 fairies. Initially friendly, when she refused to return to the fairy realm with them, they left with a blast of wind, leaving Bessie on the ground ill. Bessie claimed Thomas had taught her how to treat children and cattle that were sick. She could also help find missing items. Thomas told Bessie that she would stand trial for communicating with the spirit world, although he said her neighbours would save her, which they never did. She was arrested in 1576 and charged with witchcraft along with other crimes. She was found guilty and was to be executed. It is thought her execution took place near Edinburgh Castle.
So we have come to our second location and we are at St John's Church. We are going to have a look around the graveyard. There is supposed to be a witch's grave located here, isn't there?
Yeah, there is, yeah.
And we're going to do an ITC and just to see what comes through.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, it seems a peaceful area, doesn't it? At the moment? Yeah, we do believe this is Molly Lee's tomb. We've been doing a bit of research, haven't we?
Yeah. This is a picture that tallies up to the grave that we've seen on the internet. Molly Lee was an accused witch. Do you know what date it was, John?
It was 17th century, I believe.
17th century, and she was born with a deformity, and she got labelled to be as a witch because of this deformity. Later years, she was bullied, picked on, and she apparently made friends with a black crow. John's found some interesting information, ain't you, John?
Yeah, in 20th century, something like 1921, something like that, a lady called Sybil Leek, which I found because I was looking up the area of Leek.
Yeah.
She proclaimed to be a descendant from Molly Lee. She was a famous occult author.
Yep.
Witchcraft. She went into witchcraft, all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And she said she was a descendant from Molly Lee. She died in 1982. So.
And that's interesting that she's said that, because, like I say, a lot of people believe that actually Molly wasn't actually a real witch. She was just branded as one because of how she looked. So for a family member to then go into
that area,
witchcraft and occult and stuff, makes it quite interesting, don't it?
Or even if it were just Sybil Leek saying wanting to be linked to her, still it makes it quite interesting, doesn't it? So we have just now set up the ITC device. I've just run round and said Molly Lee, chased me around the apple tree. twice round grave.
He did it 3 times.
Did it 3 times.
We didn't see her though. She's not here.
Well, no, but she might be. She might be. So we've stuck ITC on. I'm going to see while that's actually playing.
So angry.
Oh, she's angry. She'll be angry at me then.
And Molly, if you're here with us, we ask you to come forward. I mean you no harm.
On the other side.
Of God.
It sounded like Salem.
7.
7.
So Molly, if you're here,
Or dog.
Where he left.
can you give us an hello?
No, we're Russian.
Book of Shadows.
Book of Shadows. Pretty sure that said Book of Shadows. Makes sense, witchy.
Yeah. Did you used to read the Book of Shadows?
But you
Or is it the one that you wrote?
Swell.
Come on Molly, we mean you no harm.
and cried.
5. Let's go 7 and 5.
Who was the other lady? Sybil Lee.
Studying.
Cave.
Cave. Is this Sybil Lee? Book of Shadows, I bet if you were an author you'd have wrote one. After her chase. Did that say witchcraft?
Witchcraft.
Details.
Alright. Witchcraft and details. We'll be looking at some books.
We know, Molly, that not all witchcraft is bad, and what may have been witchcraft.
Your journey.
Were you walking then?
Yeah, I heard walking there.
Like it was near us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right about where them trees are.
Turn around.
Turn round. Oh.
Wait, I thought it was behind me actually. I just turned around.
But it sounded like
Secure
a...
yourself.
Molly, are you circling us?
That's just
He
really
could
funny.
not.
Yeah.
Gay kid.
Exactly.
Is Sybil your relative? Can you hear it again?
Yeah, I've heard it again.
Ran down.
Ran down.
What's ran down?
Or
This-
you ran down. Is that yes?
East.
Weirdly enough, numbers that I've done. Totally random, but with all this detail that were
April.
false.
So we have got the month of April, whether it's month of April or in
Late.
A lake.
April, June.
April. Lake.
Molly, you've apparently been seen in your cottage. Can you tell us? Can you tell us what you was doing? What you were seen doing?
Bring me eat.
He was a servant.
What did the gentleman see you doing from your cottage?
Far.
It was in the east, and it said he was a servant.
It said.
Can you tell me?
The sun is.
Dancing.
Did you want to take the power from our batteries?
Good point.
You can. There's a device there you can take some energy from.
That is the static sensor. Static, or is it temperature?
Static.
Static.
Current. Yeah, take the current from the battery. Can you tell us what your pet was?
Hoarding.
Really hear voice.
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's picking it up on camera. I mean, I
Well,
noticed
you'll
it's
see on
obviously
camera
background.
that I reacted.
But I'll go with
Yeah, both did. You looked at the same time, which looks strange on video footage.
Of God.
Correct.
The God.
A friend.
Hey,
Great traffic.
Haste. Make haste. Like, is that Russian?
As a object.
I thought you said, is that Russian then?
Russian, yeah. It's been one of them nights.
It's been one of them.
Make haste into to make
Yeah.
to get on with it.
Yeah.
Hasty.
To get on with it. Yeah.
Well, can't you get on with it?
You said the God. Which God?
Middle. Of God.
Middle god, it said. Great.
Who is the middle god?
Index. It'll be an index at book.
Alright, we'll have to search up middle god.
Right, you know, if we look all this up
And it makes sense.
and it makes sense.
Right.
Come on, guys. Yeah.
He's sick.
You can't make it up, can you?
No,
So
no,
we've,
you can't write it.
Roughly about 10 minutes.
Right, well, so
Accept.
weirdly enough, I'm left with loads of questions.
Yeah,
Not like
questions
it's just
to answer.
random stuff. There's books that
And mo.
we didn't get gods much on last one we did we?
No.
Referenced also to a middle god.
Saturn, the daughter.
So there's quite a lot of answers to questions, really.
Lake was mentioned.
Hmm.
Which lake?
It over.
Wicked.
Wicked. Was you wicked?
Did they think you were wicked?
Did they treat you like you was wicked?
The witch trials of North Berwick in Scotland took place from 1590 and lasted for 2 years. King James VI was initially quite lenient towards witches. However, this changed when he was sailing to Denmark in order to marry Princess Anne. He encountered terrible storms. He was advised that the storms were a result of witchcraft. Witches from both Denmark and Scotland were arrested. 6 witches from Denmark confessed. When King James heard how Denmark tried their witches, he went on to set up his own tribunal. The trials began with Jelly Duncan, who was a known healer, was accused of being a witch by her boss, David Seaton. David tortured her and she named other witches. Agnes Sampson, an elderly woman, was arrested. She denied the charges and refused to confess. After being tortured, she was brought to King James. She still refused to confess. She was then brutally tortured. All her hair was shaved and she had a witch's bridle placed on her head. This was an iron cage and had multiple sharp prongs that were inserted into her mouth. The prongs would press on her tongue and cheeks. Agnes was not allowed to sleep, and eventually she confessed to all 53 of the accusations against her. She was then strangled and burned. Soon up to 100 suspected witches were arrested and tortured. Many confessed to a meeting with the devil in a churchyard in North Berwick. Some confessed to attempting to poison the king. There were also confessions that it was the devil who had forced them to perform witchcraft against the king. as the devil believed King James was his enemy. It is not known how many of those that confessed were executed.
Hello everyone, this is John and Philip from Redridge X, and we've just arrived at Belvoir, or someone said Beaver Castle. We're going to probably get that sorted out when we get us tickets. We're going to ask them the best way to say this. But yeah, Belvoir Castle, if you ask me. But it's not far from Grantham, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not that far from Grantham at all, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not far from Grantham. We're here. There's an old story of witches, an incident with witches here, with the Rutland family, where someone died, and
There were two sons, a son.
a son. So yeah, there was a son in there what passed, and a mum and two daughters. Were
Witches that were accused.
accused, yeah.
Call it Flowers case.
Yeah.
Which we'll in some detail explain as we're in castle grounds.
Yeah, and so we're here on that, and also this castle, it's said that it was built on an old Iron Age fort, or an Iron Age fort was nearby. Some also say that there's a major ley line run through here. So we've come here for a couple of good reasons, really. So we'll have to update you as we go around. Alright, so yeah, we'll catch up with you in a bit.
The Flowers was known to be herbal healers and came from a local family that had fallen on hard times. They accepted employment as servants with the 6th Earl and his wife at Beaver Castle. After the sisters were dismissed, the Earl and his wife fell ill. They died from serious vomiting. After initial examinations in February 1619 by the Earl of Rutland, had the Flowers arrested before Christmas of 1618. They was then taken to Lincoln Gaol, where they was tried and executed.
So even if we don't get anything directly from this, we're going to see if anything is recorded through here, and then if any words come from this recording as well, aren't we?
Yep. Everything will be reviewed. We would love to hear about the Flowers family, the servants that used to be employed at the castle. I believe there was a John. If there's a John there, can you come forward? Try your best to get your name out.
So is there a John? Have you got any messages at all for us?
We actually like to hear about Rutland's family as well. There's the Earls, there's the Duchesses. Please come forward.
Yes, if there's any energies around at all that can influence these sounds, please come forward.
Did you put it on like an AM channel? Yeah, just for people, we have put it on the FM channel because the PSB7, it was on radio waves, So there's an AM, there's an FM, and at the moment we have got it on FM, and we will switch over channels at some point just to see if we get any different results. Lighting star. I'd like to talk to the witches. Yeah, please come forward. So they would have been called the Beaver or the Belvoir witches. Right, okay. So we're going to give you a couple of minutes here to see if you can capture anything. That's brilliant. Now, is there any spirits available? Remember what? Couple, is it?
Possibly the most well-known witch from Aberdeen in Scotland was Janet Wishart. She was charged with 18 acts of witchcraft which took place over 30 years. She was said to have used spells and cursed many of her victims and could also cause storms. One night at 2 a.m, Janet was spotted leaving Adam Mair's home by two men. The men told Adam's wife what they had seen. Later that day, the two men drowned. Janet's son-in-law would beat his wife, and during one beating, a large dog entered the room attacking him but did not go near his wife. This led him to believing Janet had cast a spell on him. Thomas, Janet's son, was also found guilty of being a witch. He was believed to be the leader of a coven who would all worship the devil. Janet and Thomas were both strangled, placed in barrels of tar and burned in February 1596. The following month, Janet's husband and 3 daughters were found guilty of being accessories. They were banished and were not allowed within 10 miles of the area. In 1662, near Nairn in the north of Scotland, Isabel Gowdy freely made 4 confessions to witchcraft. Her confessions took place over 6 weeks, and at each confession the minister was present. She first confessed to meeting the devil at a local church where she recanted her Christianity. She told how the devil sucked the blood from her neck. She also told of being intimate with the devil, meeting him several times. Isabel claimed she could shapeshift into a jackdaw. She would fly into mansions and feast on their food. She made claims that, along with other witches from her coven, would transform into flying horses. They would fly through the air, armed with bows created by the devil's elves. They would fire the bows at passers-by, and if you were unlucky to be struck by a bow, you would die. Another of her confessions told of how she would perform rituals to destroy the crops of her neighbours. She also would recite spells to cause the minister to be ill. She eventually confessed to 27 spells or rituals, which is more than any other witch on trial in Britain. She then confessed to having met the king and queen of the fairies, telling of meeting them at Downey Hill. The council had stated that suspected witches could be put on trial if their confessions had been gained without torture. the person deemed sane and did not want to die. Although there are no records of what happened to Isabel, it's thought she would have been tried, found guilty and executed. However, some people believe that she may have been freed as her sanity would have been questioned.